are now tuned in to the Lineman Lounge, the world's thickest sports podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Evo.
Como están, bitches? This is the Lineman Lounge. I am Mike. That is Evo. Week 7 is in the books. Our bets weren't great again. We're very fucking mediocre, as per the usual this season. But you know what? I felt really good going in. We had some great games that were down to the wire. Your picks were not great. You're kind of scattered all over, man. I was hot as shit early. I was like, I'm about to go cruise to an 11-win week. And that shit did not happen. I lost the last 4 games that we picked. So I went 8-7. You went 7-8. We'll pop those up in a little bit. But
this is the thing, man. I keep looking at this, and in the back of my head, I'm like, I fucking hate doing the spread. But I'm also telling myself, like, if I had picked who's going to win this game, there's a good handful of them as well where I'm like, I'm still fucking wrong on it. So I don't know. Like, there's a lot of parity this year. And I'm still just going to live with I hate the spread. But I don't know, man. I think this is just kind of a wonky year. You can't really fully get a read on all these teams yet. And we're about to be 8 weeks into this shit. So it's pretty awesome. It's good for the sport. I do like the parity.
Yeah, the parity has been great. The games have been great. We've had, a lot of good football is being played all throughout the country. Not necessarily here in Cleveland. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a lot of things Cleveland tonight. But before we start diving into Cleveland, there was a massive game. Your boys, the Vikings, took on the Detroit Lions. You obviously went with your boys in our picks. You went Vikings -1.5. I took the Lions plus 1.5. Good game, close game. The Lions ultimately get the dub. And I know that it hurt to lose that first game of the year. I'm going to make it maybe hurt a little bit more. I got a buddy, one of the biggest Lions fans I know. Literally, this motherfucker is enormous. Current service member in the United States Army. Sergeant, first class, my man, Devin Dent. How you doing, brother? Welcome into the show.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me, man. I'm so happy to be here.
Absolutely, man.
I bet you are.
Oh, man.
Lions win.
Listen, I've been waiting my whole adult life for this, okay? My whole adult life. You know what struggle it is to be a Detroit Lions fan? I was placing bets when they were 0-16, so nobody can say that I'm a bandwagoner. Absolutely not.
That's
awesome, exactly
man.
why I wanted to bring you in, man, because listen, there's probably a lot of new Lions fans. I don't know that many Lions fans, but I know that you were a Lions fan. You've been a Lions fan since the day I met you up in fucking Alaska, stationed up there together at Fort Wainwright. So I know that you follow the Lions. So talk me through what this must feel like, because I'm still struggling to understand what it's like to go from a life of mediocrity and poor management to a consistent winning culture. So tell me, brother, how does that feel for you right now?
Listen, Dan Campbell is the coach that we needed. Like, we've been praying for this type of coach. He was actually on, a lot of people don't know or don't recognize him, but he was on the 0-16 team. So he's seen the absolute worst of the worst. That's why he's so fired up in that locker room, and that's why he's what they would call a player's coach, because he got his teeth kicked in, like, in the worst way possible. Like, he made records in the NFL, and they weren't the good ones that we want to talk about. But growing up and not seeing them do well, being a teenager, seeing Barry Sanders just up and retire, then we get Megatron up and retires. We got other players, Ezekiel Ansah, we got Ndamukong Suh, we got Golden Tate, we got all of these great players, and we just were not getting the job done. We had Matthew Stafford, still a hell of a quarterback in my opinion. Wasn't getting the job done, and I'm not blaming him, but the chemistry just wasn't there. We were mentally defeated for, I believe, a long time, and then all of a sudden we get this hard-nosed, I don't give a damn gunslinger type of a coach, and he's like, we're going to fight and scrape. And we don't care if you're a big name player or you're a no-name guy that's sixth string coming out of Western Arizona University. If you want to play our type of hard-nosed football and be a part of the gridiron and grind it out until we win and keep fighting for every last yard on every last down, then this is where you need to be. And that's the culture that we have now.
Yeah, man. Look, it seems like it was like the perfect meld of situations. Like not only having a player's coach, a guy who was a player, but to have that sort of a motivational background. And he's not necessarily, he doesn't seem like the big brains type of guy, right? He's bringing in coordinators and other former players that know the game. They know how to make a team work, and he's the one up there motivating them. But on the flip side of that, you have a GM who's going in there and making all the right moves, it seems like. So it's not only a culture shift, because having good culture on a team matters, but it doesn't matter if you just have a bunch of Jags that can actually compete. Your GM goes out there and makes just fantastic move after fantastic move, where you're actually putting a lot of young talent on that team. You're not looking at like a team with a Barry Sanders and then John Kitna or something at quarterback, right? Like you are bringing in really talented guys, and that's not a huge diss on John Kitna. I mean, he's not one of the greatest quarterbacks in the league or anything like that, but like you're having not just like a superstar here, a superstar there. You're having a guy like Aiden Hutchinson. You're having Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery in the backfield, like a really strong tandem. Like you are bringing in some damn good guys. That's like it. Of course, NFC North, like we're all competitive against each other, and I hate the fucking Packers. I'll never.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They've been ruining Thanksgiving and Christmas for me my whole life. Whole life.
But like I've always, and don't take this the wrong way, I've always felt bad for the Lions because it's like you guys will have some good players and you just keep getting kicked down in the dirt. And so it makes me happy to see what you guys are doing. And that's why I was super excited for our game against one another, because it's like we're good, you guys are good. This is like something that we very, very rarely have seen in our lifetime, is a good match between the Vikings and the Lions, because usually one of us is a little better than the other, and it just doesn't seem as fun. Like this was. We're two of probably the top 5 teams in the NFL right now. And to get to see that sort of match out, play out, and have it actually be a good game, not one of us, slump, was pretty fucking awesome.
Oh, I completely agree. I have nothing but respect for the Minnesota Vikings, that entire ball club. As long as Green Bay's not winning, I'm happy with anybody in the NFC North. And let me just say right now, the NFC North is without a doubt the toughest in the NFL. We have the toughest division in the NFL, hands down. Everybody's winning on any given Sunday. Anybody can knock your teeth out if we're going against anybody else in the league. Like we're getting the job done. But it was a great game this past Sunday. To me, that's how the Super Bowl is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fought down to the last play, down to the wire. It shouldn't be just one team steamrolling the other team. It shouldn't be uneventful. These guys, both teams, the Lions and the Vikings, they fought nail and tooth for every single play. I was worried at the beginning of the game because you guys got off to a great start and we were just not we were not firing on all cylinders. And I was just like, oh boy, like the Vikings, you guys earned that undefeated marker that y'all had. Y'all fought every way for it, but I was worried. And then as the second quarter came, it's like, okay, we're kicking it into high gear. Now we're playing ball.
Yeah, it was like the first couple drives that you guys had on offense where it was 3 and out. I was like, this is not the Lions I've seen. And it kind of made me a little bit more confident. I was like, holy shit, maybe this defense for the Vikings is better than even I thought, because with how explosive you guys have been, how efficient Jared Goff has been like the past 3 weeks, like his completion percentage and everything,
oh my God,
insane. And to not have anything be going across that yellow line, I was definitely hyped. And then I saw us fall back into more of that grudge match. We couldn't stop you guys on offense very much, through that middle part of the game. My question is, how worried were you there at the end when Josh Metellus did the old peanut punch on Montgomery and got that ball out?
Look, when I seen that, my heart stopped because I was just like, I was frozen on the couch. I
assumed that the game was over at that point until the ball got knocked out and Ivan Pace returned it for a touchdown. I was like, holy shit, we have a fucking chance. Yeah. I just assumed you guys are going to bleed out the clock the rest of the way. So that, look, it's that sort of a drama in those games. That's why we watch football. It's fucking awesome. The only thing that I didn't get to see was, and Kevin O'Connell said it at the end of the game, was if it wasn't for that little last penalty and we were able to get up there and spike the ball, he was going to give our kicker a shot at like a 70-yarder, which Will the Thrill Reichard has been. He's hit every field goal this year, but he's been hitting from up past 70 in practice. So
really,
it's out there. Yeah, it's possible. The most scoringest kicker ever in college football.
Listen, if he had the chance to kick it and he actually hit it, once again, like you got to give you have to tip your hat off to something like that. That's not an easy feat. We got guys in the league now that are struggling to kick 55-yarders. And for him to put plus 15 on there,
or extra points, those are also hard.
Get
into the end zone.
Yeah. It was also kind of cool for me watching this game because your backup right guard, who was actually starting for you, Awosika, is a kid. It's very rare, but kids from my high school make it to the NFL every now and then. He actually graduated from Maple Grove Senior High School in Minnesota. So he got to start a game in his hometown. That was pretty fucking cool to see. It was not a good game for him by any means because we were up his ass in those first couple drives. The reason why those drives stalled out pretty quick were because of holding calls from him and us getting around him. It was not a great day for him, but still, I'm super proud of the kid. I just want to shout out Awosika for getting out there on the NFL field, getting to start a game, getting to do it in your state that you grew up in. That's pretty fucking awesome.
And with this being the Lineman Lounge, like, also have to give a shout out to Christian Darrisaw. I'm sure that you have seen the clip.
I've seen the play.
It is insane. Devin, I'm not sure if you have seen this, but Christian Darrisaw absolutely just washes down a block, spins out as his left tackle spot, picks up a guy coming off you. He picked up the twist by himself entirely in a play that just
and end is crashing in. Like the end is crashing in. He rides him into the guard and basically throws him down. And on the twist, so you've got the interior defender coming around the outside. Christian Darrisaw turns counterclockwise and just ends up right into that fucking twisting guy. So he basically blocks two dudes and does it very athletically for a big man. That's why he's one of the best left tackles in the league.
Hey, that's what we love to see, man. Like we love to see the big guys getting those big plays, and that's always super exciting. So I definitely got to go back and research that play. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely all out there on the Twitters and whatnot. So question that I got for you was, how do you think that your defense performed without having your all-star back there in Aiden Hutchinson? Do you think that they did a pretty good job?
So first off, you know what I'm saying, my prayers and concerns go out to Aiden Hutchinson. Like, the guy has been an absolute monster. Detroit hasn't seen anything like that since Ndamukong Suh. So, I mean, for him to just come out with the efficiency, the energy, hardly ever gets, fouls or calls, flags thrown against him, as getting 4.5 touches a game easily. Like, the guy's unreplaceable. I love him to death. But as far as the defense, like James Houston, he was holding it down. Reeder McNeil, what's the guy's name? Josh
Pascal.
Yeah, Pascal. Yeah. Like, I was worried that the cohesiveness wasn't going to be there, because Aiden Hutchinson, he doesn't get tagged out of his position hardly ever, right? And rightfully so. So to pull another guy in normally now in less than a week's notice, normally you have some hiccups. And I think that probably what they did is they went back to the drawing board. They probably talked about it, worked on some drills all week, and they came out and they were efficient. And I think that they're only going to get better as the season goes along. If anything, I think that defensive line is going to get tight because of Aiden. They're going to want to do it for him because they know how much he gives to the team, and the fact that he just physically can't be there is something outside, just a freak accident. If they can do anything, they're going to win for him.
Yeah, it seemed to me. Well, it seemed to me like what Aaron Glenn had been doing with that defense was he was basically scheming up single blocks on Aiden Hutchinson, putting him out in very wide nine, so that way you can't really put two guys on him, or they would maneuver things with if there was a second blocker, a tight end or something, where he wouldn't get blocked very often. And
Right.
he's able to do that because he's such an athletic freak. When he goes down, it looked like they went to a much more traditional 4-3 style defense and just ended up sending a lot more blitzes. And that's where you're going to be getting like your Brian Branches involved, like those kind of other superstars in the back end involved. And it seemed to work out pretty well. Do you think that you guys are going to be in that trade market here before November 5th to get yourself a guy? Zadarius Smith has been thrown around a lot.
Already
Max
for you,
Crosby.
I hope not. I am diehard. I'm extreme loyalist. Like win, lose, or draw. The crew I got is the crew I'm gonna roll with. So I'm okay with if we pick up a couple guys, that's cool. But I don't want to get rid of anybody in our crew because they literally went from shit to sugar together. And
okay.
I just believe that you know what I'm saying, you can't turn your back on guys. You start trading guys, once you start getting on top. That's how you break up dynasties.
How about that don't cost you any players, and you just give me a couple of picks. So hear me out here, brother. You need another edge rusher. Okay, I'll give you Zadarius Smith. You also could use some help in the secondary. I'll give you Denzel Ward. All it's going to cost you is a first and a fourth round pick. That's a starting corner.
Denzel Ward is the first round pick. The
Yeah.
fourth round pick is Zadarius. Don't get me wrong. Zadarius played out here in Minnesota. I liked him when he was here. Didn't like him when he was a Packer. But
Listen, we're trying to build up picks.
A good player, but he's a situational edge rusher. You're not getting as much out of him in the run game. And that's why, we were able to kind of move him around. I believe to you guys, we ended up getting like a fourth or something like that, moving Zadarius. DJ Reader, Ward he's the guy that would be that first round pick, but I still think that's a little steep, a first rounder for him.
Hey, Evo, stop trying to cut my fucking legs out here.
Well, he's
a lot of help.
Not the GM right now.
He needs so much help.
Devin's not the GM here.
That's true.
He might have Brad Holmes' number, but I don't know.
I wish.
All right, man. So, guys, game. Let's break it down. You guys have talked about it a little bit already. Where were the flaws, Evo? Where did they get you, Devin? Where do you got to be cautious that the Vikings don't get you next time? Where were some areas that were exposed? Evo, you first, brother.
Look, this was at the end of the day a very, very even game. Time of possession, the Vikings had the ball for I think like a minute and 53 seconds more. Total yards, we were within 11 yards of each other. Total yards, 250 passing yards for Detroit, 244 for Minnesota, 144 rushing yards for Detroit, 139 for Minnesota. I mean, we were very, very fucking close. Turnover battle, we each had one turnover, each had 4 sacks, each had 8 penalties. Like, it was a very, very even match, and that's why it came down to those last seconds. It was like, this is exactly like Devin said, what you want to see in the Super Bowl, like two very evenly pitted teams. You don't want to see a blowout in the Super Bowl. You want a good game. And it was anxiety driven and dramatic the whole time, which is what I love to see. Look, I liked what my Vikings did. We kind of did good against the run. When David Montgomery was out for a while, you could actually see a difference in that run game because Montgomery is definitely their pounder and a guy that you don't want to go up against. Amon-Ra was working the middle, those little curls and stuff in the middle, working the open space in the zone. And that's always going to be a weakness for us. But overall, I liked how the defense performed. When you're going up against a guy like Goff that's that efficient, you aren't going to like stop him. You aren't going to disrupt every single pass. He's going to get stuff done. And it's just kind of finding a way to stop the bleeding. The biggest thing for us was, and I'm going to be critical here of Sam Darnold. I got to be critical of Sam Darnold, was that interception that he had. It was absolutely terrible. I was yelling at the screen before he threw the pass. Jones is open, wide left in the flat, and he didn't have a guy within like 15 yards. And I saw Sam look over and throw it to the right, and that was the interception. It was easy interception for Branch. Like, if he had thrown it to Jones, that was probably 25 yard or so, catch and run. And so that was super, super frustrating. And that one's probably going to haunt Darnold for a while. But the fact that Sam Darnold was able to come back out and not have another interception, not compound on that, shows how much he's grown from years past. So, Darnold, I'm not going to say he was the reason that we lost that game. He did seem a little bit slower to react this game than he has in previous games. Wasn't as quick with his decision making. So we want to see that increase and improve. But overall, I don't really have a ton of complaints other than I want to see us more consistent through the full 4 quarters. Lions are a good fucking team, man. They're a good fucking team all around. I would like to see you guys add an edge rusher, Devin. I know that you want to keep that crew tight, but if you guys are able to get another edge rusher that adds another little element to your team, like Mike and I talked about this before, it is a heavy price to try to think about getting Max Crosby on that team.
Do it.
Probably 2 first round picks, but think about it next year. Max Crosby on one side, and on the other, you got your prospective defensive MVP. That would be scary as hell.
That'll collapse a lot of pockets. That's not
what I want to go up against.
Yeah,
twice a year. Absolutely not. So I'm cool with you guys not making that trade, but damn, that would be crazy. But no, look, Lions are a damn good team. I really like the way they're attacking stuff. So not a lot else for me to go over there. I'm looking forward to our second matchup here towards the end of the year.
Oh yeah, it's going to get really good. I think for me, I'm happy with the ball that we're playing. I think it's going to get really good. But here's the thing: we're showing a lot of our tricks early on in the season, which is good because now we can afford to try to trick plays now or try some of the more unconventional gameplay now and see if it works as opposed to doing it postseason. And now is the time to perfect that as the season goes along. The problem is just like the Vikings, just like every other team, the Seahawks, the Dallas Cowboys, they're going to go back and they're going to watch film from every single week. And if we become a target, which I believe we already are, we got guys like Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown, they're going through the middle. They're going across, and they have no problems with going across the middle. But here's the problem. If guys start learning those patterns and we do it consistently enough, they're gonna knock their lights out, and it's gonna be at the wrong time. And that's going to be detrimental to us. And that's what I'm worried about. I think the defense is going to get better and better and better. The secondary, I believe, is going to have to step it up just a little bit. I mean, Arnold did catch that amazing interception. I was happy about that. I think Davis does a good job. The safeties, Branch and Joseph, I think they do a good, but we have to get tighter on that man coverage and being able to isolate one-on-one. We got
his first round pick.
Yeah. And it'll get better with time. But what I'm worried about is if we consistently do this every single week, like I said, they're going to catch on to the foot. Everybody's going to start watching footage, and then they're going to start anticipating certain plays at certain points during the game. And that's what's going to hurt us.
All right. Well, man, Devin, thank you very much, brother. It was a pleasure having you on. I don't know if you want to hang out. The next thing I'm planning to transition us into is the Cleveland Browns. I know you know how I am. I get a little emotional. I get a little heated, especially when I talk about Browns. If you want to stay for that segment, you're more than welcome. But if not, brother, I just want to say thank you very much. It is a pleasure to be able to talk to you again. We have talked a little bit on the phone. You have a nice little credit in at the end of the movie. Thank you for the uniforms, my man.
Man, I love that movie, man. It was great. I love the plot twist that I was not expecting it. I won't, for the people that haven't seen it, I won't tell what the movie was, but it definitely that needs to be a major motion picture. It 100% needs to be a major motion picture, man, because it was great. It was absolutely.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, brother. But my man, you want to hang out while I bitch about the Browns? Or you hopping out of here?
No, I want to hear what you got to say about the Browns. I can't hang out too long. I still got to go help one of my soldiers, but I want to hear what you got to say.
All right, my man. So, Evo, I'm gonna just kind of transition. I started this conversation a little bit on Twitter the other last night. And I said I was going to expand on it now, but I made some declarative statements in that tweet, and I'm going to repeat them because I believe that they're 100% true. If you were cheering when Deshaun Watson was hurt on the field, you're a fucking scumbag.
Yeah.
I don't care that he's not good at his job at quarterback. Because trust me, I am not a fan of Deshaun Watson. I have bitched about him incessantly on the show all season and probably beyond that. But you cannot, in the lowest moment of somebody's fucking life, be cheering at their pain. It is a terrible look as a fan. It gives the fan base and think that you can't fucking wash away. Now, it is not everybody that was doing this. I believe this is a small segment of fans that were being fucking hard-hearted. It's just unacceptable. Okay?
It was completely disgusting.
It is disgusting. You
Look,
cannot do that.
I'll say this. Given the current situation with the Browns and how bad that things have been there, and the feeling that a lot of Browns fans have around Deshaun Watson being the bad guy, if I were to put myself in that moment, in the shoes of those fans, I could see myself being one of those people, and definitely scumbaggy move. And I would probably reflect on it later and be like, man, that was really fucked of me. Being a guy that had a very terrible leg injury,
right,
playing football and understanding not only the physical but the mental pain that goes along with it, and everything, like, it's very tough to go through. I'm sure he was going through it on the field, and to hear like cheers, like it's pretty fucking terrible. But in an emotional moment as a fan, I could see people doing it who aren't necessarily. It's a scumbag thing to do, but I don't know that necessarily all of them are scumbags. There certainly are people out there who are.
There were people that were definitely scumbags. There were people that followed echoes. There were people that didn't do it. Yes, all of those things are 100% true. Now, some of the things that were said later on are also unequivocally false. Like, you can't necessarily defend the character of Deshaun Watson because he's not necessarily the greatest person. We've seen all sorts of cases come out that say maybe contrary, that he's not the greatest person, like he is a victim. He's not a victim. He's he's created a terrible image for himself. That does not give you the right to cheer somebody's downfall. And if you are one of the people who is touting karma finally showed up, you and I'm trying to find the hard-hearted is a really funny way to say the word that we're not allowed to say, because the word starts with re, ends with dead, and in the middle is that shit that we use to fix roads. That, like, if you think that karma just happens like that, you don't know how karma works. You cheering that something bad happened to somebody, is there not karma attached to that fucking action, you moron? Maybe the karma that you're going to receive for cheering somebody's pain is that your football team is going to perpetually suck dick at football. It doesn't make any sense. There is no good way to be like, oh yeah, you cannot cheer somebody's injury. Now, with that being said, Deshaun Watson was not playing starting level quarterback, and he needed to be sat down. This is not at all how I wanted him to be sat down. What I wish would have happened is that somebody in the organization actually had a nutsack and would have said, you know what? He doesn't provide us the best chance to win. We have to do what's best for the team and what is best for winning. But that didn't happen. Nobody had any fucking intestinal fortitude to say, we made a mistake. So what they did is they just kept sending him out there, not changing shit. And he got beat the fuck up. Of course that was going to happen. We didn't change anything. The organization failed him. Deshaun is not a victim, but you cannot fucking cheer his injury. And karma continues to work. Like, everything about this situation was completely fucking wrong and fucked up. I am very glad that Deshaun Watson is not playing quarterback for the Browns. I am not glad that he got hurt. I don't know where this season turns, but I'm assuming it's going to be a lot of bad football turned into picks, hopefully several more picks, because I don't want to draft a quarterback and bring him into this same fucking situation. We got to build this team up because we are so far away from being competitive. And right now, who's gonna want to come here to be?
I agree 100%. 100% with that, with what you just said, because like we talked about earlier, Detroit Lions our culture was the same thing. People used to say things like, "Oh, you go play for Detroit, that's where careers go to die," and stuff like that, right? So you have to change the culture if you want to change the outcome of the games and the overall mentality. But that culture, I think you hit the nail right on the head, Mike. Like, you don't prey on somebody else's downfall. I can dislike a person as a player. Like, for example, Aaron Rodgers, not a fan. I am not a fan of Aaron Rodgers whatsoever. I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, I wish he goes outside and gets hit by a bus." I want him to get beat on the field. I don't want the person to be personally actually injured, right? So, and people have to understand, like, it's a sport. We still have to be humane. We still have to have some sort of decency, right? And we also have the next generation. We got kids that are looking at how we as adults are carrying ourselves and acting. So if our children go out and do something like this, you're the first person to try and knock them upside their head. But then we as adults, we think that it's okay collectively as a mob to just go out. "Oh, he got injured. He's down for the count. Oh, well, we're just going to beat him." You know what I'm saying? We're going to just kick him while he's down? That's bullshit.
I mean, you want to boo him for playing bad, boo him for playing bad.
Right.
They decided to bench him and you cheer that they benched him. That's acceptable too, but not when there's an injury.
Right.
It takes it across the line. Eva, where are you at?
I mean, it's the same thing, man. Like I said, I would like to think that I'm magnanimous and that, I'm that kind-hearted of a person. I wouldn't be the type of person cheering in that situation. But I know human emotion will make you do stupid things sometimes. But Devin brings up a really good point. Like, we are the adults here. All of us are grown men. You have to worry about those around you, especially children and stuff like that are watching, and the examples that we're setting for them about how to be better people with that. And I'm sure there's people there at the game drinking alcohol, probably involved too, making them do stupid stuff. Like, I can find all the excuses and everything like that. I would like to think that the Cleveland fans aren't that bad with the situation, and I don't think they are. I think they carry their lumps just like every single fan base does. But that being said, it is now something that is kind of a positive opportunity for you, Mike, and your team to look forward to what the rest of the season kind of has to offer. Playoff aspirations are probably out the window, and I just don't know what's more important to you, seeing good football or some good product on the field, or kind of working your way towards a better draft pick at this point. Because look, Jameis Winston,
I need to see competent quarterback play for at least a few games so I can see where the problem lies. Was it with the quarterback? Is the line so bad that no quarterback can be good at it? Is the receivers? Is it truly the scheme? Fuck, I don't even know if the scheme's going to stay the same now that Jameis is coming in. It would make more sense to go to a more Stefanski style scheme with Jameis coming in, a more pro style scheme. So I don't even know, but I need to see at least some competent quarterback play so I know where the fuck to go from here. And I'm sure that everybody in the Browns organization feels the same way, because regardless of what I said about Deshaun, he was playing terrible fucking quarterback. It was awful. Like, it was the worst in the goddamn league. He should not have been playing. So that's where we have to start.
Yeah. And look, Jameis did get in there a little bit, less than 50%, but he did throw a touchdown. A little bit of something to see there going forward in the future. Nick Chubb did get to play. Didn't have the game that you wanted to see from him. 11 rushes for 22 yards is definitely nothing to write home about, even though he was the leading rusher who was a non-quarterback. That is DTR, obviously led the team, 3 rushes, 44 yards. But another kind of highlight, the one thing that I want to bring up is, this was your first game without Amari Cooper, and Cedric Tillman slipped right in that role. Cedric Tillman was a guy that I was championing a lot during that draft class out of Tennessee, and it was nice to see him go out there, 8 catches, 81 yards. And so that's kind of another young, bright point for your roster to look forward to in the future. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this team going forward. You had so many people, myself included, saying you need to put Jameson. He's going to give you the best chance to be closer to what you had last year with Flacco. And we're going to get to see that now. We're going to see if that's the situation.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's kind of where I'm at on it. All we can do now is move forward. We'll see where all this shit shakes out. But I now have a different lens on every Sunday when I'm watching the Browns. It's who stays, who goes, where do we need improvements? It's not wins and losses at this point. It's all evaluation for me because there's going to be guys that got to get moved.
Yeah.
I have a question based on that. So why is it that in the league, when we have taking the injury out of the situation, right? You got Watson not necessarily playing the best ball. Why do we have these coaches that just will not swap guys out? You have 3 quarterbacks on your active roster at any game. They're all getting paid millions of dollars. And why is it that if you got player number 1 right here and he's just – I'm not saying, he had one bad game. Let's say for argument's sake, he's tanking the first 2 or 3 games. Why not give the other 2 guys a shot? Because what are you losing at this point?
Ego is the big thing, in my opinion.
Spend money, and they would have to admit that they were wrong.
Yeah. In this situation, I don't know that it's Stefanski that's the one that's actually not making the moves. It seems like it's coming from above him. So that's the GM who is kind of holding Stefanski's leash and could be the one to say whether or not he gets fired. And yeah,
ownership.
It can be ownership as well, because when it comes to guaranteed contracts, the ownerships are the ones. It's not about cap space. They have to pay the money now. It goes into an escrow account now. So when they paid Deshaun the 200 some odd million, they paid him immediately, put that money into an escrow account. So the ownership loses it immediately. So they are heavily involved with those major, massive purchases of players. So if they are the ones signing off on it and they're wrong, then makes them look bad too. So even though I think the common fan would say, oh, it's the GM's fault, it's the head coach's fault, and that's where the blame would go if they ended up switching out players, the ownership still has an ego. Those guys that are making the millions and billions of dollars, they all get there with egos, and they don't want to downsize that ego by saying that they failed on a transaction, like getting a Deshaun Watson in there. In my opinion, that's the main thing. There are some coaches out there who are the ones in charge of that roster who also have an ego issue. They'll say, I can fix this guy. I can make him good. And it's something else.
I can do it.
Yeah. So it's more of an ego thing than anything, in my opinion. You have your onesies and twosies where it's like, we have to put this guy out there to get his lumps and learn the game, like a Josh Allen. They played him maybe earlier than he should have. And there's definitely opportunities to pull him out and put in a quarterback that was more veteran, but they let him stay out there, kept driving him through in order to learn, hey, this is the bad side of the ball. Now you're going to learn how to become a good player. And look at where he's at now. He's a damn fine quarterback.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my man, Devin, thank you very, very, very much. It is a pleasure once again to talk to you, man. We'll have to do this again for sure. You got anything you want to pump? You got anything that you do that the people should know about?
Not at this time. I got something that's in the works. I got a good buddy of mine said I need to do a podcast or do something because apparently my Facebook posts from Sunday to Sunday are pretty gnarly. So they're getting a couple views on it. So
I can think of a podcast that you could also join us on at some point in time in the future. We got another little pod called The Talk, if you're not aware of it. That is just kind of veteran centric, and the basis of it is us just bullshitting around a talk. It's like how we would be. So it's a nice fun area, but that's for future conversations between you and Mike. But look, man, I would love to see you back on here again because obviously Ball, your Lions ain't going away anytime soon, and we got another game week 18 to finish off the year that could have some huge playoff implications. So I mean that would be worth bringing you back on to talk about.
I'm gonna call it right now. That's gonna be the difference between having having a guaranteed spot and being in a wild card. That's what I think.
All righty.
I think the NFC North is going to be governed by that game.
Very nice.
All right.
But yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for having me on. It's been an absolute pleasure. Can't wait to do it again.
All right, Devin. Appreciate you, man. We'll talk to you soon.
Roger that. See y'all guys.
See you, brother.
It's my guy, Devin Dent. Man, showed up just back from deployment in Afghanistan, and that was one of the new crop that was there waiting for us. Great dude. My guy's been talking about Detroit ever since I have known him. And it used to be a lot of fun, the back and forth, because, well, we both sucked. Now I'm very happy for him, and his Lions are being good. At some point, maybe we'll get there as well for the Browns. But my man, we got a good chunk of the show that we already took up. We got to start rifling through some of these games. You ready, brother?
Yeah, let's do it. So we kind of talked about this game as it was going on our Sunday morning show, but we had the Patriots and Jaguars playing out in London. Jaguars ended up winning that game, and we lost that pick pretty tremendously. They won 32-16. Another solid day from Drake May, 26 of 37, 276 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Tank Bigsby, again, showing that he is kind of the number one back there in Jacksonville, bringing up the conversation of could Etienne be moved. Also, Hunter Henry, if you need a tight end fantasy, and he's out there in a lot of leagues. Hunter Henry consistently putting up good amounts of volume there for the Patriots. Drake May kind of using that old adage of tight ends or safety blanket, right? And I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Thomas Jr. out there, Brian Thomas Jr., the wide receiver for Jacksonville. He's got the most receiving yards, I believe, of a rookie right now. Malik Neighbors, of course, was injured for a couple weeks. But Thomas, again, showing that he's that number one dude there, 5 receptions, 89 yards, and a tud, with one of those catches being 58 yards long. He's a real deal, man. I brought it up like he has some Randy Moss traits to him that I really liked when I was watching his film in the draft. Now, he ain't no Randy Moss, but he's pretty fucking good.
He is very, very good at the football. They played much better, but I'll tell you what, it kind of old Patriots football getting flipped on them. Big special teams plays make a huge difference in this game. Momentum massively shifts the Jags' way on that 96-yard punt return. By the way, 96-yard punt return. Fucking special teams coach is probably screaming, why the fuck are you catching that ball unless you house this thing? Man, gets it done. And that really kind of changed the momentum in that game. We started our show shortly after that play took place, and then just point after point started getting rattled off for the Jags.
Yep, absolutely. And I guess with that, if you've got it available, we might as well get that spreadsheet up and take our licks before we get too far into the rest of these games, because it wasn't a good week for either of us. A worse week for me, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Listen, we started out. I was right. I was fucking hot all morning, dog. The Patriots, that kind of sucked. But we both got Eagles. I got the Bills. Titans stink. I got Houston 2.5. The hook saves me. Kind of sucks for you. You had to watch the Packers win and miss the bet. We both got Colts. Both miss on the Falcons. Falcons just did not show up. I took the Browns. I begrudgingly did it after I found out that Jameis was going to be inactivated. However, Jameis was called upon anyways with multiple fucking injuries to the quarterbacks. I wonder, I don't understand why you would deactivate a guy who's potentially your best chance to win. It was very awkward. It kind of seems suspect. But anyway, moving on. We talked about the Lions and the Vikings. They got you. We both got the Commanders. I got Raiders. They've found a way to backdoor cover that fucking thing. You missed on the Rams. And then I went cold. 49ers did not show up. Chiefs are one of the best teams in the league. Don't worry, everybody on TikTok. I'll say it now. All right. They were not happy with me when I said they were not one of the best teams in the league. Bucks. I thought they would make a late rally. Could not get it done. Baker throws a couple picks. Ravens, they get it done. Both on the Chargers. Did not happen there either. So I go 8-7. You're 7-8. Currently for the season, I am 49-58. You are 47-60. Those are not good numbers. We will try to get a good start on the week tonight after we recap these games.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that next one, obviously we just talked about all of them, but we have the Seahawks over the Falcons in Atlanta, 34-14, 20-point victory for the Seahawks, and their defense fucking showed up. And
Yeah.
Atlanta's offense didn't really show up. I mean, Bijan had himself a good game, 21 rushes, 103 yards, a touchdown. But it was the real surprise here was how well the Seattle defense played. Their defensive line had not been doing good the past several games, and they just kind of were getting walked on. But they found a way to make it happen in this game for sure. Good game from Geno, 18-28, 2 tuds, and an okay game from Kirk Cousins if you don't look at his interceptions, because bad Kirky boy came out in this one. 24-35, 232 yards, a tud, but also 2 interceptions and a really low average depth of target on this, 6.6 yard average on those throws. Good game for Bijan, spread the ball around, but overall it was that Seattle defense that really made it count.
Yeah, you brought it up. The defense really made it count, where they were able to generate some pass rush. They get 3 sacks, hit Kirk 9 times, force him into some of those mental mistakes, some of those mental errors, cause interceptions. Bijan had a good day, sure, but when you're making mental mistakes like Kirk was, you're not going to have a great day. Geno did not play good. I mean, he played fine. He got the 2 tuds, but once again, like, he just kind of average. The difference here is that Seattle defense showing up and forcing some mistakes. So, yeah, I did not see that coming by any means.
Nope. I mean, we obviously both had the Falcons on this one, and I thought it was going to be a handy win. When the Seahawks got that far ahead, it was definitely surprising. Yeah. Next up, we have the Titans and the Bills being played out in New York. Bills are able to put up 34 on the Titans to their 10. Easy win there for the Bills. Josh Allen, very efficient day, 21 of 33 for 323 yards and 2 touchdowns. And hey, he got to use his new shiny target there, Amari Cooper, 4 catches, 66 yards and a tud. And yes, Keon Coleman he said he confirmed the play to him, because he wasn't telling the play, but he confirmed him, which is, hey, that's being a good teammate right there. Yeah, I'm not going to fucking throw him under the bus at all. I'm going to shine my shoes on he knew what was going on. He's a pro. I was confirming it with him.
Yes, he knew it.
Yeah.
Keon Coleman had a good day. I think the Amari Cooper addition is going to really help Keon Coleman. We talked about that in the last episode. Like, that's going to be a big help for him in his, development. The Titans' game plan, though, I'm really confused as to what the fuck they thought they were going to do. They couldn't run the ball. They didn't hardly establish a run at all. And they thought that Mason Rudolph throwing the ball 40 times was going to be a potential recipe to stay in this game or get in this game. They had no shot from Jump Street if that was the plan. The 3 fucking fumbles by Mason Rudolph. Like, you just sitting back in the pocket waiting to get fucking hit. Okay, so the experiments is not working with the quarterbacks or the coach in Tennessee right now. I mean, they're not going to fire him after 1 year, right? They're not going to fire Callahan after a year. But this is a guy who's supposed to be really good with quarterbacks. Obviously, I don't think we're expecting him to develop Mason Rudolph. Will Levis, is he developable? Is he going to be able to be developed? But right now,
a lot of Will
shit.
You still have a lot of Will Levis supporters out there, guys who are, look, on pure arm talent, like, he's up there. We say this all the time. He's like Jay Cutler, except for he's not getting DUIs right now. He's got a really good fucking arm, but you got to fix what's going on between the head, between the ears. And I don't know, like, Callahan fell in onto this quarterback. Part of selecting which team you're going to go and be the head coach of, if they offer you a contract, is saying whether or not you can fix the quarterback situation there, or if you need to move another route. It'd be interesting to understand what he was thinking, or if he figured that he could fix that situation or not, because Tennessee could absolutely be in position right now, being 1-5, They could be picking very high. They could have a shot at any one of these guys that is considered a top quarterback in this coming draft. And it could be a guy that Callahan feels is his guy and he could develop. Mason Rudolph isn't it. I think that we saw you know, pretty sloppy backup level, replacement level play. And Will Levis will be backed out there before too long with the high variability. If they can reel him in at all, you might see some pretty good things out of him. But yeah, it just seemed kind of disjointed in what they were attempting to do in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you ready to move on to the next one? Yeah.
Yeah, got to pop up the old Gooselini in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, moving on to our next game though. Texans, Packers in Green Bay. This one was a close one, but Packers win 24-22. I end up losing because of the hook, like you brought up, which is a son of a bitch. The Packers just find ways to fuck me. Overall, though, a pretty solid day for the Packers running attack. Not much really right on there. Jordan Love, 2 picks, though.
Yeah.
Is he inaccurate? Is he just throwing the ball around? What is it? I don't know.
I think it's a little bit of both, man. Like the defense did a pretty good job causing miscues, rushing the timing, but Jordan Love is inaccurate. Jordan Love is at times wildly inaccurate. He was able to do enough in this game, though, because CJ Stroud had the worst fucking game of his life. Couldn't do anything.
And that's
the defining
that's why Houston lost.
Yeah.
Houston had a really good run game going. Joe Mixon, again, is showing like he's not revitalizing his career, but he definitely was not hitting his high points there with the Bengals. He is hitting who he could be right now with the Texans. While he's healthy and on the field, he's doing some damn good shit. He's rushing for over 100 yards, it seems like, every time that he's out there. And 2 tuds in this game. He's what was keeping them in this game because CJ Stroud, 10 for 21 with no touchdowns, no interceptions, getting sacked 4 times. Like, it was a bad game for CJ Stroud. And a big part of that does go to the Green Bay defense and what they were able to do to get him off of his mark. Playing there in Lambeau is tough. It's tough for quarterbacks, but you got to be able to do better than that. Because just a little bit more efficiency. You connect on 5 more of those passes, you probably get yourself another 50 yards. It's not a great yardage game, but your completion percentage is pretty good, and you're going to be giving your guys like a Tank Dell, who caught 0 passes in this game on 4 targets. You're going to give your guys like a Stephon Diggs, who did get 5 catches, but only 23 yards. Like, these are very low distance throws. You're going to give one of these guys, especially though, a Tank Dell, an opportunity to break one. Like, if you're not getting those completions happening, you're not going to give some of these stars the capability to go out there and get a big play.
Yeah. Packers did a great job on D. Stroud was not great. I'm glad I did not play him in fantasy, benched him this week. So that worked out for me. But you ready to move on to the next game, brother?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got the Colts playing the Dolphins. Colts are victorious here, 16-10. And good God, bad quarterback game, man. Anthony Richardson, like, looking at those stats early on, were terrible. They weren't good by the end of the game. 10 of 24, 129 yards. But like, this is like, I said it beforehand, man. I said it on our Sunday morning show. If you are a owner of a receiving option on this Colts team in fantasy football,
drop them.
It's gonna hurt.
Get rid of them.
Because what, my guy Josh Downs had 1 catch for 3 yards. He's been putting up targets, like 5-6 since, with Flacco out there. Like, it was tough. It had to be like pulling teeth to not put Flacco out there for Steichen to get some semblance of a passing attack going. Like, it was pretty fucking terrible.
Yeah, it was not a good game. I mean, we saw Tyler Huntley and Tim Boyle basically go out there and do the exact same thing. Anthony Richardson was wildly inefficient, as per the usual. However, did add an element with his legs, which is what you're going to get with Anthony Richardson. Neither one of these teams are any good. The Colts are, I guess, better. But if this team wants to win, if they think they're close enough to win anything, they have to play Flacco. But I think they're okay with riding this out with Anthony Richardson while he continues to develop and they can see what they have because they're probably not in a position to win right now. So they're going to continue this Anthony Richardson experiment. Like, if you want to talk about an organization that has a really good philosophy on quarterbacks and not giving up on fucking quarterbacks, the Colts might be like the hallmark. Peyton Manning famously set the record for most interceptions in a rookie season. Came back and fucking obviously had a Hall of Fame career. Like, they're gonna let him take his lumps. Hopefully, they got the right people in his ear telling him, "Hey, listen, man, this shit happens to everybody. Rookies have a hard time. Peyton did it. Maybe Peyton's talking to him. I don't fucking know. It's bad quarterback play.
Is it Peyton Manning or Painting Manning?
Peyton.
Peyton.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, not a great game. Dolphins stink. Tua will be back probably next week.
We're talking about this upcoming game. The practice window is open. It sounds like he's ready to go. And again, I really think that they should do a quarterback sneak first play. Balls to the wall, baby. No guardian cap.
Presence with authority.
Hell yeah. And fantasy owners of any fucking receiving option there for the Dolphins will hopefully be rejoicing for a couple weeks until probably another fucking concussion. I know I'll be looking for Jalen Waddle to put up some points because he's been really doing fucking nothing for me. All righty. Next one, Eagles, Giants in New York. Eagles obviously just trample all over the Giants on this one, 28-3. Really, really rough game there for the Giants and Drew Lock, 14-21 for 99 yards. I like that our like the litmus in my head starts to become Bo Nix games. When they're this low on the yardage, when we're not seeing triple digit on yardage. At least it wasn't Drew Lock who went in there and threw 3 for 8 for 6 yards. Nothing was going for him in this one. Jalen Hurts basically had to do very, very little as a passer in this game. 10 of 14, 114 yards and 1 touchdown. This was a Saquon game. This was exactly what everyone game. This exactly what you were talking about was him going out there. Really cool moment that I actually saw on the sideline. And I'll give my props to Sirianni a little bit, but this is actually all on Saquon here. Saquon was rushing towards a record, right? I believe he was like 7 yards or something, or 11 yards away from most he's ever had in a game. And it was recognized by the team. And they've got NFL films or whatever watching Sirianni go up to him on the sideline and having a conversation. It says, "Hey, man, you're like 11 yards away from your personal best record or whatever. We're going to be starting to put backups out there. You want to go get that?" And he's like, "Nah, man, let the young guys go get it." And Sirianni was like, "Are you sure? I don't want to upset you. Like, I completely get if you want to go out there and do it." And he's like, No. Let the other guys eat." And Saquon let the younger players go out there and get some play. It's a cool thing to see. Good guy, Saquon. So, but yeah, 176 yards on 17 carries and a tud. Great day for him.
10 yards of carry against your former team has got to feel so fucking good, dude.
Absolutely. And it was an efficient day for the Eagles. No turnovers. Yeah, their defense actually stood up, locked down this Giants defense, and they didn't have to do much else.
Daniel Jones, divisional opponents, match made in hell if you're a Giants fan. Saquon Barkley revenge game. I kind of thought so. It wasn't necessarily a fun game to watch unless you like watching Saquon Barkley just run wherever the fuck he wants to. But Eagles, they're gonna beat up teams like the Giants every once in a while, who are 0-4 in their division.
Yeah.
So expect to see a continuing trend with the Giants getting their ass kicked by divisional opponents.
Absolutely. All right, next game up, we had the Raiders and the Rams being played out in LA. Rams are able to get the dub in this one, 20-15. Aiden O'Connell goes down with a broken thumb, I believe. We're looking at 2 to 4 weeks, so it's back to being the Gardner Minshew show. Or my old Cincinnati Bearcats quarterback, who they signed off the Arizona Cardinals practice squad. Maybe we'll be seeing a little bit of Desmond Ridder out there for this Vegas Raiders team. They also, I believe, have like an undrafted rookie, Colton something or other. I don't know. He might get out there, but as of right now, I'm just going to assume that it's Minshew that's going to be playing. He was 15 to 34 coming in for Aiden O'Connell with a whopping 3 picks. Yeah, it was not a great day for Gardner. Interesting, though, for the Raiders, their rush game really going through Alexander Madison over Zamir White. 23 carries for 92 yards. That sort of target share tends to show you that Madison's just taking over completely, which he was the Vikings starting back last year, and it did not go well. The scheme is not set up for him. He's always been the backup to Dalvin Cook, and he's had a couple of these games where he's like kind of come in for injury and whatnot, and he's shown up really well. And you're thinking like maybe this guy could be the bell cow back, and then he just kind of falls off and fails after that. For Madison's sake, because I do think that he's a good guy, I hope that he's actually able to find a career here in LA and kind of cement that starting role for him. But if you are a fantasy fan, I would be wary. We've seen a couple big games already from Madison this year, but I'd be wary about like going hard after him in waivers tonight, because this could be a very splotchy occurrence. It's not like he was going up against the 85 Bears here. It was the Rams defense, which is pretty rough. Good news for the Rams, though. Obviously, they get the W. A pretty mediocre game from Matt Stafford, 154 yards and 1 interception. Kyron Williams still doing his thing, being a good rusher, 2 touchdowns. And they are going to be getting Cooper Kupp back here pretty soon, probably this week versus my Vikings on Thursday night. And they did open up the practice window as well for Puka Nacua. Though there's some rumors going around about Cooper Kupp possibly being a trade option.
I think there's probably some fire. Like there's some shit going on there because they're not very good. I don't know how long they're going to expect Stafford to hang on. They're 2-4 right now. They're going to have to get really healthy really quick. I mean, they got to win, sure, but that's on the heels of fucking Gardner Minshew turning the ball over 4 times because you brought up the 3 picks. You also lost a fumble. So the Raiders fucking handed Gardner Minshew literally walked over to the Rams sideline and was like, "Here, I don't want this. Win this game." I could easily see that Kupp would get traded, big contract,
and he's north of 30.
Yeah,
like there are teams with wide receiver needs, like Kansas City. Like that would be an interesting situation. Look, Kupp still has
fucking annoying.
It would be
Kupp run a billion goddamn whip routes in Andy Reid's offense.
It would be very annoying, yeah. But like, look, I'm just connecting dots here, and it seems like it would be a very easy opportunity for Kansas City to go out there and get him. And for what it's worth, like the Rams, while having both Puka and Kupp on the field would be great, it's something that you don't really get to see because Kupp's an injury liability, right? Obviously, Puka is right now as well, but he's very early in his career, so we don't know if that's going to be a continuing trend. And you do have some guys there in Tutu Atwell, Tyler Johnson, and Demarcus Robinson, and Colby Parkinson, all guys who are like Jags, but they fit into the number 3 role pretty well. And having a Puka there, like you have a semblance of a pretty decent receiving core for Matthew Stafford to work with, a good receiving back and running back and Kyron Williams. Like you've got some options. So you're not going anywhere crazy this year, probably at 2-4 if you're the Rams. Yeah, might as well trade off that asset if you can. So again, keep an eye out for that. November 5th trade deadline. Nothing else special happened that day.
Nothing else.
All righty. Next up, getting into our afternoon games, we have an ass whooping. Commanders put 40 up on the Panthers. Andy Dalton and his family actually just in a car accident. Reported this afternoon. They're all safe. He's being looked at by team medical staff, but no one was transported to the hospital. So thankfully, he's safe and good to go. I'm sure that Carolina fans are happy with that because despite only putting up 7 points, he's definitely doing better at quarterback than their previous starter, who threw twice for -4 yards in this game. But Dalton, 11 of 16, not very much of a passing game, 93 yards and 2 interceptions. So it's still not a great game for Dalton. Chuba Hubbard, not too good either. Look, this was Washington defense stepped up. They had a good game, and and we're allowing Jaden Daniels to kind of do his thing for a little bit until he had the rib oblique injury, and Marcus Mariota went out and did 18 of 23, 205 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like Mariota looked like pretty damn good in this one.
Yeah, so I mean, here's the thing. Like, sure, Mariota looked good, but all we have to know about the Carolina Panthers team is that the Marcus Mariota-led Commanders, because that's basically what happened, the majority of this fucking game, scored 40 points. The Marcus Mariota-led Washington Commanders scored 40 points on your defense. The Panthers are awful. They might be the only team in the NFL that's worse than the Browns right now. They are terrible. They made Marcus Mariota look like he was a very good, competent quarterback. They could run the ball any which way they wanted. Over 200 yards on the day. The Panthers stuck. Commanders, pretty decent little team.
Yeah.
Better than we thought, for sure.
And we're hoping the best, obviously, for Jaden, because we want to see him continue to do good things. It sounds like it's going to be a week to week, so we might end up seeing a little bit of Marcus Mariota going forward here in the future. Washington Commanders this week have the Bears, and they were going to be playing in Washington for this game. So, Bears, decent defense. They are a gettable team, despite being a part of that really veritable NFL North, or NFC North. It might be worth, like if you have a choice of getting Jaden a little bit of a breather, maybe in this one is a week that you could let him sit.
All right, yeah, maybe.
Monitor going forward.
They'll be fine. They're not a bad team, and in their division, like they're gonna be, I think, right there in the thick of it. They're leading the division right now. Should be right, or are the Eagles tied with them?
I'm not sure. I feel like Washington's got to be in the lead.
At 5, I think it's 4-3 and 5-2. I could be wrong. I'll go back and check here in a second. Are you ready to move on to the next game, though?
Yes, sir. All right. So next up, Kansas City Chiefs and San Francisco 49ers. Chiefs are able to go in there, put up 28 points, win 28-18. Patrick Mahomes, not a great day. Brock Purdy, even a worse day. Mahomes, 154 yards, 2 interceptions. Purdy goes out 212 yards, 3 interceptions. Neither of them are able to throw a touchdown in this game, leaving it to the run game. Jordan Mason was absolutely held up by this Chiefs defense. Like, this one thing we said is that the offense is kind of uninspiring for this Chiefs team, but the defense is still damn good. Able to hold them to 58 yards. Purdy was able to run in for 2 touchdowns, so there is a little bit of a highlight there, but still a very bad day for Brock Purdy. And we're going to continue to see this storyline on Pat Mahomes. Like, what's going on this year? It's tough to call him the GOAT when he's having the sort of season that he is. I mean, I think he has more interceptions than touchdowns on the year, if I'm not correct. 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. It's odd to see at this point. I mean, yes, he doesn't have a ton of receiving options, but still. Kareem Hunt, good game from him, 2 touchdowns, 78 yards rushing. And Chiefs are still the only undefeated team in the NFL.
Yeah, Chiefs are still the only undefeated team. Pat Mahomes needs a guy. Travis Kelce, love him. Lost a step. Not the same Travis. Xavier Worthy, their first round receiver. We both had big question marks. I think the Chiefs are starting to have some question marks as well. Can only really draw up gadget plays for him. He's not winning elsewhere unless he's just literally outrunning motherfuckers.
Yeah.
That is the only thing that he is able to do.
And they're trying to get him the ball. 8 targets and only 3 receptions for 19 yards. He is being pigeonholed in what he can do, and that's kind of what we felt coming out of the draft.
Yeah, it's definitely showing its face now. Mecole Hardman, that's not much different than Xavier Worthy. Like, they need a receiver. Cooper Kupp would make a fuckload of sense for them. It helps Travis. It would help. I mean, and with an Xavier Worthy speed guy, even a Nicole Hardman speed out there to take the top off, like it allows more shit. They have got to go get a receiver. Pat is struggling. Guys are not separating. Guys are not getting open. Pat's trying to force balls in the windows. But their defense is so fucking good that they just keep winning. That's what they want on the heels up here. They're going to continue to win with their defense. The Chiefs are for sure going to go out and make a trade and get a receiver of some kind. Who that is, I don't know. Cooper Kupp, possible. I don't know. How wild would it be if they traded for fucking Tyreek Hill? Because the Dolphins stink, and they have no idea how long that organization is going to stay together.
I don't know if I see them trading him, but I feel like Dolphins are going to fucking ride with Tyreek and Waddle and try to figure the Tua situation out. I don't know. There definitely has to be some moves.
Quarterback.
But it does kind of bring in the question. You see quarterbacks of the past who are able to operate, some of the greats who are able to operate agnostic of the receiving talent around them. They uplift that talent, and you're not seeing it as much with Pat. And it's tough to fight this narrative because it is extremely contrarian, but like he might be the most clutch quarterback ever. But is he the best ever? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Think clutch necessarily makes him the best.
I don't think it does either.
Listen, you're comparing him to Tom Brady, right?
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. Tom Brady is the GOAT, yes, but I don't think Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. I would give that distinction to Peyton Manning, who I think played the quarterback position at the highest level that we have ever seen, especially from a mental standpoint. Tom was one of those guys that was clutch. And he also was on really good fucking teams. You'll never convince me that if you switch Tom Brady and Peyton Manning, Colts and fucking Patriots, the Patriots have fucking 8 Super Bowls and not 6 with Tom.
I mean, there's an argument to be made. I think Tom was not only clutch, but like he was the game manager. He is the reason why the term game manager is out there, because he just ran an extremely efficient system. Yeah. Patrick Mahomes is clutch, but he's also out there on the raw edges of the spectrum of what he can do with crazy fucking running around and all that stuff. Yeah. But you know, some of the accuracy or decision making, obviously, we're seeing it come to fruition this year. Just it's not working out. It's something to continue to track. We don't need to harp on it completely over and over again. We have a comment here from Spicy Mike, hearing a rumor the Dolphins might trade for Kyler. I don't see that happening. Kyler is still doing relatively good there for the Cardinals. The Dolphins are still hard up on Tua, even though they probably should consider looking at other options. I mean, I could see it, I suppose, but it would be a little bit premature. They would have to be doing a 1-for-1 swap of Kyler for Tua. And does Arizona really want to bring on that problem? Tua just got the contract. They're not going to bring Kyler over there for just a year, you know, to supplement Tua. So I don't know. Like that's still depending on what goes on with the quarterback situation in the next game we're going to talk about. I still think that those guys should be open and available as options if they want to have a higher floor backup for Tua on that Dolphins team. But getting into that game, we have the New York Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers out in Pittsburgh. Steelers get the win here, 37-15. Devontae Adams does not look great on the Jets. Aaron Rodgers does not look great as well. A touchdown, 2 interceptions. And Russell Wilson doesn't look half bad. Like I completely was on board. Don't take Justin Fields out. Leave him in. He's doing well with that team. That team seems to be set up for Russell or for Justin Fields. The only benefit that you get from bringing Russell Wilson in is a potential uplift to the passing game. And that's exactly what we saw, was an uplift to the passing game.
By a lot. 29. Professional fucking, like, there was a legit NFL offense being run there.
And we saw Russ's arm be a lot more legit. Like, we talked about the velocity and accuracy and everything being way down when he was with Denver. It looked back up to a lot closer to Seattle Russ. when he was playing in this game. Now, 16 of 29, not the greatest completion percentage there, but the throws he was making were damn good. He had a couple that definitely, went in the dirt early and things like that, but he kind of unlocked George Pickens. George Pickens looked fucking on fire in this game. Pat Fryermuth was definitely back involved. And then you have Najee Harris when he's not dropping M-bombs in press conferences, running for 21 yards, 21 carries for 102 yards. Like, good game from him. Overall, this team just looked to be doing very good. Like, the Steelers definitely were topping the Jets in this one. The offense was not making sense for the Jets at all. A big game from Breece Hall, not necessarily on the ground, but through the air. But yeah, Devontae looked like a minimal impact there. I assumed, and I think like most people assumed, that there would just be this romantic connection between him and Aaron Rodgers coming back together, and that they would just, their hearts would align and they would know what's going on. And then you get 3 catches for 30 yards on 9 targets.
Maybe he forgot the fucking hand signals, the special hand signals.
Maybe. But I mean, look, 9 targets, still you expect Devontae, what you're paying for him, what you paid to get him, and everything else involved, that he's going to come down with over 50% of those, right? And he's not doing that yet. We'll give him another week to integrate with the offense, but the signs are not great right now.
The Jets offense fucking sucks. They're not good at all. They can't block. Aaron Rodgers is also lost a step. Another guy who had supreme talent, it's not really there no more, man. He's definitely lost it. Garrett Wilson still has a decent day. But I got to tell you, man, if they're going to throw the ball 40 times a game, this team is never going to get better. They have got to fucking establish a run game at some point. It has to be consistent. Breece Hall can't go for 110 and then fucking 12 and then 80 and then fucking 24. The way that this same thing with Bijan. It is a very similar situation to what's going on with Bijan. They are not utilizing their fucking running back the way that they should in the running game in this situation. And then flip sides, Breece Hall's being used excellently in the passing game. Bijan's not being used that way. They cannot throw the ball 40 times with Aaron fucking Rodgers every game and be effective. It's not going to happen. So, Steelers, defense is still good. Their offense looked like a professional run offense. I know we both had questions. Could we make this transition to a more pro style offense that was going to fit Russ? They look just fine.
Yeah. And look, the record speaks for itself. Zach Wilson was leading this team as good. If we're looking at the interceptions in 2022, Zach Wilson threw 7 interceptions in 9 games. 2023, he threw 7 interceptions in 12 games. Rodgers has played 7 games and he's already thrown 7. The guy who didn't throw interceptions, like, it's quantifiable. He is not who he used to be at this point.
Yeah.
I love that storyline. And you know what? I want to shout out Devin again. Fuck Aaron Rodgers and fuck the Packers. I love it. He's greatest guest. All right. Monday night, we had 2 Monday night games. First one, Ravens and Bucks. Ravens were up way ahead, and Bucks kind of made a little bit of a run there at the end, getting 21 points in the fourth quarter. More fourth quarter woes for the Ravens, maybe, but it was when you're this far ahead, you're going to allow those sorts of plays. 41-31. You got Baker on the sideline throwing in the Zinichinos out there. Derrick Henry having a fantastic fucking day, rushing for another 169 yards. Rashad Bateman, albeit on 2 big passes and 4 total receptions, 121 yards and touchdown. And Baker throwing for 3 touchdowns and 370. But big storyline out of this, obviously, is Godwin. Should Godwin have been playing at that point, and is this the end of his career?
Man, so end of his career, I think so. We'll go there. And that sucks because he was really fucking good.
They were talking him up so much through the game about he's still doing it. He's still got it at this point in his career. And he was having himself a damn good game.
He was.
And then after things got out of hand, I understand you're trying to win a game, and hindsight's 2020, but like you already have Evans go down with that hammy that I kind of talked about on Sunday morning. Didn't know if he was going to play or not. Ended up going to the game without an injury designation. Re-aggravates that hamstring. Now we're looking at week 12, I think they said, before he could be coming back. And then Godwin, you've lost him for more than the season. You very well have lost him for his career. He just had reconstructive knee surgery. And then after this devastating of an injury to that ankle, the rehab and everything involved at his age.
That thing looked like it was not. Everything was detached. His career is probably over, even if he wanted to come back. It was a devastating.
I mean, have you seen the video of him on the cart in slow-mo?
No.
You see him look just kind of dejected and look over at the guy sitting in the cart with him. He goes, "Well, my career's over."
I did not see that.
He knows it. He knows it, man. And it's unfortunate. Look, he's had a fucking awesome career. He's a great wide receiver, and it sucks to see guys not be able to go out on their terms. But I do not fault him at all if he says this has got to be it. Because
hell yeah.
He's had a hell of a career.
Yeah. Now, in terms of the should he have been in, it's always tough. Like, are you trying to stay competitive? This is a Bucs team that is trying to compete for their division week in, week out, fight to the last fucking seconds on the clock. I understand the motivation to go out there and play and everybody play. So I have a really hard time thinking, sit your guys down. In hindsight, yeah, sure. We could say, yes, he should not have been in the game. But in most moments, we're not, like, especially when they're still going out there and they're scoring. They scored 21 points in the fourth quarter. The Ravens are known to blow fucking leads in the fourth quarter. It's just a really, really unfortunate situation that happened.
Yeah, absolutely. Sucks to see the Bucs drop another one here, but Ravens, they look damn good. Lamar, hell of a night. Running the ball, throwing the ball, 5 touchdowns. He is MVP pace right now, man. I feel like we talk about it this time of year, every year. Yeah. MVP pace from this dude.
I mean, what else can you say about Lamar? Lamar's Lamar, 5 tuds with his arm. Like, he's a stud.
Well, one Harbaugh brother had himself a pretty decent night. The other one, not so much. We have the Chargers and Cardinals. Cardinals win this game 17-15. Low scoring game from both teams here. A decent night from Kyler Murray. Ended up, I think, cracking off a 44-yard rushing touchdown in this game. Also throwing for 1. Had an early pick in the game by a defensive lineman, probably because he's short. Mm-hmm. There's a height joke in there. But 145 yards. They're still not getting the connection with MHJ. And it's tough to see. I saw a breakdown from someone today, and they were going through the route tree that he's being used for, and it sounds like they're just completely misutilizing him in this offense. You got guys like Malik Neighbors who's running near identical route trees to what he was running when he was at LSU. And then MHJ, I guess the route tree that they're having to run is a lot of late developing stuff. You're not seeing the slants with him. They're almost using him like he's supposed to be like a speed guy deep down the field only. I think it's just criminal misuse of him and his capabilities right now, because we know he's talented. He didn't lose it overnight coming to the NFL. He was playing at Ohio State. He was playing up against NFL caliber talent. He was getting double, triple guarded in one game at least. He's shown
in one game. But here's the thing. In that game, when you go back and look, what happened? Kyler broke the pocket, late developing route, breaks open, touchdown, right? Mm-hmm. So I agree with you. What they are doing is they are trying to get him on late developing things, deeper routes. He is a guy that you should be feeding the ball to, probably 10 targets a game right now? Probably their best receiver. You need to be getting him in different facets. He has shown excellent body control basically his entire time throughout college and some in the pros now. Great route runner. They are utilizing him in an improper way, in my opinion. But their passing game has really not been efficient at all yet this year. Kyler, for what he has done, has looked good. It looked like very athletic Kyler again with the arm strength, but his numbers really haven't been good. It hasn't been efficient hardly at all. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that when you talk about a route tree where they're not doing the right things, yeah, that makes sense. They're not being efficient at all. But then you look at the other side, the Chargers, they, I mean, from a team that wouldn't take a field goal to a team that's only kicking field goals is probably not the move that Chargers fans were hoping for.
Yeah. And look, their defense has been really good. We talked about this on our Sunday show. They're the number one point differential defense, or not point differential, but number one scoring defense, holding teams on average to about 13 points. Cardinals were able to get a little bit more, and that's why they get the win. Justin Herbert, like, had a fucking good game. They just weren't able to score, man. 27 to 39 for 350 yards, 349 yards is a damn good day passing the ball.
But you
not
don't
being able to get scores.
You don't fucking go for it once down there.
Right. Yeah. It was too passive by Harbaugh, especially in the red zone. And you're not seeing. Look, we know this with their offensive receivers. They don't have any big name guys. Lad McConkey was the one big name that they brought in this year at the draft, and he's not that type of guy. They don't have a big name receiver down there. So like this could be the situation. They could get a lot of volume and not a lot of scoring out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, turnovers hurt them. 2 fumbles, 2 lost fumbles is a tough way to win football games. They can move the ball. They got to find a way to get it in the fucking end zone. They got to find a way to find somewhere in the middle of this analytics or no analytics. Because I cannot. We used to complain. Chargers fans would complain like Staley wouldn't take points when he could have taken points in 1 games. And to just sit there and kick 5 field goals. I'm happy that your kicker kicked 5 fucking field goals. And he made all 5. Made all 5. Trust him. One time, though, you got to go for it. You got to trust your offense to go out there and get you a first down and put the ball in the fucking end zone.
Yeah, for sure. All righty. That's our week 7 slate of games. Are we ready to look at our one for Thursday night?
Yeah, hell yeah. We don't no early Sunday game, so we are only picking the one game tonight for Thursday. And then we got a fucking full slate this Sunday, baby.
Yeah, no bye week. No bye week for any team this week. So a big slate. But Thursday night out in SoFi Stadium, Inglewood, California, LA Rams are going to be taking on my Minnesota Vikings. Super excited for this game. See how we bounce back after getting that first loss. I didn't think we were going to go undefeated this year. And I am glad that if we lost to a team, it was going to be a damn good team there in that Lions, propping up that NFC North. But Vikings are going in this game as of right now. Looks like TJ Hawkinson is going to be playing in this game, which could be a big boost for us. And look, we've said this all along. I'm just going to get out of the way. The Rams defense is not good. They don't have the talent that they did before. They don't have an Aaron Donald. And they are having difficulties going up against really strong offenses. The Vikings offense is extremely capable. Sam Darnold should be able to pick things apart there. Matt Stafford, as good as he is, isn't having a great year. They, again, sounds like they're going to get Cooper Kupp back. That is definitely a little bit more scary. But the Flores defense should be able to do stuff against Matt Stafford, hopefully getting his head a little bit. Right now, the spread is Minnesota minus 3 points. Odds that you'll get on that is plus 100 for the minus 3 odds for the Vikings, or minus 122 for those Rams odds. I'm, of course, dropping the points from my Vikings. Look, I knew better this last week than to drop the points for my Vikings. I truly felt that, this was going to be an extremely tight game, which it was, and I should have just taken the points for the Lions. And this one, I feel completely different. I feel like we are going to win by at least a touchdown in this game. No discredit to the Rams, but the defense, I don't know how they hold up against our offense in the way that we've been playing.
Yeah, man, I'm right there with you. Vikings minus 3 makes 100% sense to me, especially at plus 100 odds. I'm getting even money to only drop 3 points. You guys are one of the best teams in football. We've talked about it. You guys lose a tough game to the team that I think is playing the best football in the NFL right now in the Lions. Play them tight. The Rams are super, super banged up. Cooper Kupp coming back. Sure, it's fine, but that B-flow defense, you guys are doing a pretty good job. The efficiency that you saw against Goff will not be a problem going up against Stafford. Stafford has not been nearly as efficient, and his weapons are not there. Vikings -3. Hammer that one, especially at even odds.
Absolutely. And that wraps it up, man.
Hell yeah. Well, man, this was fun. Bringing on guests. We're going to have to try to find some more guests from different teams. I did take a little at Evo's expense here today, bringing in the Lions fan after taking the loss. But
you brought in a fucking awesome fan. It was great meeting Devin today. He seems like a great dude. Obviously love supporting veterans just like ourselves. And, I'm happy for him. I get it. Like, I've watched the Lions my whole life, just have ups and downs. They'll get good a little bit here or there, but like, this is a damn good team, and I'm happy and proud to see them where they're at.
I mean, damn good team. Happy for the Lions, happy for Devin. Very appreciative that he was able to make it on today. But with that, guys, we're gonna get the fuck out of here. I am Mike. That is Evo. This is the Lineman Lounge. If you want to interact with the show, you can go any one of the places below. We got X, Facebook, TikTok, call line closed currently, and the YouTube. Please, if you guys would not mind, head on over to our YouTube page. Hit us with the like, share, and subscribe if you would not mind. It would mean a great deal to us if you guys could head over to our YouTube page and do that. The more subscribers we get, the more we're going to be able to grow this thing. We love doing this. We hope to continue to grow, bring more people in, bring more people on, and keep the conversation going. But with that, Evo, give the people one last word before we get out of here.
Skull in LA, I guess. I can't think of anything good. You put me on the spot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I do it. I mean,
what Devin said. Fuck Aaron Rodgers. Fuck Green Bay Packers.
We just ride with fuck Aaron Rodgers for a while. But guys, thank you very much. Anytime you spend some time with us, we're forever grateful because time is the most valuable thing that you have. We're getting out of here. I'm Mike. That's Evo. This is the Lineman Lounge. See ya!